Good day, everybody. Gino and Tom back from our my vacation. He had a vacation, but he also fit in a show while he was gone. Here we are, May the 9th, 2018. Can you believe the way this year is flying?
We must be having fun, Gino. That's like, that time is flying.
We're almost halfway through. Anyway, this is an exciting time. I mean, Tom, have you explained your trip to Italy to anybody yet?
Well, yeah, I spent 10 days in the Mediterranean. Wow. Started a few days in Barcelona, and then we went on a cruise. And it was nice. It was the weather. We left here, it was winter. I think we left here on what, April, I forget. We got middle of April. Anyway, it was winter. I mean, it was snowed the morning I left, and then came back, and it was spring. Nice.
And at that time, he had a show while I was gone, and
just the day I left,
the calls and letters have been fantastic that have been coming in about that show. I, at the time, went to, of course, Florida, which I can't afford Europe because I didn't get as big a tax break as Tom got. But anyway, let's start. Top management has asked us to get into this first question.
Sure.
This isn't our idea. This is top management's idea. We just show up for the show.
We do what we're told here.
And this time he used large print. I like that.
That's good. He knows we're old.
Now that Trump, President Trump, has pulled the U.S. out of the Obama-era Iran nuclear deal, do you think he should work to establish a new deal with them? And if so, what would you like to see as part of that deal?
Well, it's not unlike what's happening in North Korea. I mean, they have nuclear weapons, and they're a rogue state. And so same with Iran, and they also cooperate. They exchange nuclear technology and missile technology, and we're dealing with both of them simultaneously. So this is a tough approach to Iran, uniquely tough. Our only ally, Israel, supports this move of pulling out of the deal. The other European allies are against it, but it's can he make a deal with Iran? Yes, he can make a hell of a better deal than John Kerry and Barack Obama made. And once Iran is done and has, anyway, they're ticked. I'm particularly worried though that the rattling the sabers in Israel and Syria is now a client state of Iran. And the Iranian, the Revolutionary Guard, Iranian Revolutionary Guard is in there, and Israel is making regular airstrikes into Syria and killing Iranians. And they killed some high-ranking general in one of them recently. So war could break out.
War won't break out with Israel. Are you finished with that?
Yeah.
I think that President Trump has just made another terrible, terrible, terrible miscalculation. China, Russia, Britain, France, Germany, and the United Nations Security Council, basically, I think, are all signatories to that deal.
Yes, Iran. That's right.
Iran, you're wrong about one thing. Iran does not yet have a nuclear weapon. Now, I'm sure that North Korea does. Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. And what he's basically done, he said that we're not interested in that deal because I think basically because it was an Obama deal.
Trump is saying this.
Yeah, Trump is saying, I'm not interested in that deal. Okay, Mr. Trump, what's your solution? Well, we're going to enforce these standards on them for imports and stuff, so they can't buy anything from anybody. Oh, that means all of Western Europe can no longer trade with Iran because you military genius of the first water, has decided to pull out of an agreement that all these people made together. Those people are staying in. Iran will deal with them. The IEOA or whatever it is, inspection group, will still come in and inspect their facilities and stuff. So my problem with it is, okay, Israel wanted us to do this, okay? They were hot-bent, Netanyahu and the
pull
rest.
Out.
They wanted us out of that deal. Why?
Right.
Israel has got cruise missiles, submarines that fire cruise missiles, 200 at least, that was 10 years ago, 200 at least nuclear weapons. Why are they so insistent? Now, I know a bunch of people in Iran run around with an American flag burning, and they say, death to the big Satan, and Israel's considered the little Satan. Yeah, they can talk all they want. Iran is one of the youngest countries in the world. They've got half of their population is averaging around 30 years old. They're very modern.
young demographically. Okay.
Young demographically. They have a pretty moderate group at the top now. Moderate.
What?
The latest.
I won't interrupt.
All right, the latest Ayatollah is relative. I know they have Hamas, they have Hezbollah, but you know, Israel has a couple of agencies of their own. They're going around. Look, Israel feels very comfortable bombing Syria. Israel will feel very comfortable having us bomb Iran. Israel felt very comfortable with us bombing Iraq, okay? And what are we defending? We're defending a country with 200 nuclear weapons against countries that have none. Now, in order to prevent them from getting as strong as Israel is, why walk away from that deal?
That's in our interest to prevent Iran from getting as strong as Israel.
I would say it's damn good of us to
Yes, it is.
But you don't do it by walking away and say we can't have any diplomatic relations and we're going to stop using banks all over the world. That's not the smart thing to do. I mean, you can do this a different way, but you don't do it by pulling out of a deal that there are signatures all around the world that agree with it. And now we're going to tell Western powers, oh, you can't sell anything to Iran. You know that's going to go over? And one other quick thing. They also control 1/3 of the world's oil. Now, if you've noticed...
Who?
Iran. They have a ton of oil.
Not a third.
Well, I've read it's a third. But anyway, if it isn't, maybe it's a quarter, maybe it's a tenth. They are a big
It's much
oil.
smaller percentage, but
Iran?
go ahead. I don't know what it is.
Well, I think you
offhand.
better look it up. And our
Probably our producer's checking it out
may be
now,
looking it
yeah.
up right now. But the problem is, if you've noticed, since Mr. Trump has become president, our gasoline per gallon at our local pumps have gone from $1.09 to $2.09 to $2.79, give or take. They're probably going to go over $3 a gallon now. The American dollar is dropping like a rock vis-a-vis foreign currencies, okay? We're going to be paying more for gas, and it's all because of Trump. He's leading the way to hell.
Well,
But anyway,
that was a long answer.
I'm sorry.
My aging brain is. I was thinking about 5 different things to counter as you were speaking, but I didn't want to interrupt. One, the mullahs are nothing but moderate. I mean, there's nothing close to moderate. Forget that, Gino. I mean, they are the most radical.
They're religious. They're religious.
Gino, they're crazy and they're evil. I think that George W. Bush was right when he called them part of the what is it? The something of evil.
Whatever he said, yeah, that's true.
Triple evil. Or whatever, North Korea, Iran, and somebody else at the time. But they are, and they are the axis of evil. That's what he called them. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
and,
they're an axis.
They are the world's biggest sponsor of terrorism. They have proxy armies all over the place, including here in the United States. They have armies in
the United States?
They have cells. They have sleeper cells in the United States. According to our CIA, they are more numerous than Al-Qaeda's sleeper cells ever were. And Hezbollah is a major force, and they are dedicated to the destruction of Israel. You had the president of Iran. He'd go to the UN every single year.
He was saying that for 50 years, though.
And he would say, we're going to wipe Israel off the map. Here you have the president of this moderate country, run by moderate mullahs, in your estimation, threatening to destroy a country. They sponsor Hezbollah, Hamas, all of them regularly chant death to Israel, death to America. And they're moderate, all talk.
That's all.
Okay, they all talk.
How
Netanyahu just proved that they were lying, that he produced about 40 million documents, hard copy documents, smuggled out of Iran. I don't know how they did it, but they did it.
Who's this?
Netanyahu and Mossad did it.
Those are all, you know where those were from? Those are from 15 years ago.
Lies.
Then
you have former Secretary of State John Kerry over there doing secret negotiations to pulling the rug out from under President Trump, much like his predecessor or his former fellow Senator Ted Kennedy did during the Reagan administration, negotiating with the Russians while Reagan is negotiating a disarmament treaty with the Russians, then Kennedy was over there undercutting him. Now Kerry's doing the same thing. Talk about violations of the Logan Act when they were trying to accuse Flynn of doing that.
Wait a minute. Are we
This
forgetting?
is not a moderate regime. This is BS that they did it. Plus, we gave away the whole store. Kerry and Obama gave away the store.
Okay, Obama gave away the store. Have you read the deal? The original deal?
No,
No one has. No, just the people involved, okay?
I've read summaries.
Now, what you're saying on your side of the equation, you're looking at this big picture, right? Iran vis-a-vis the United States and Donald Trump deciding to pull the rug out from under it. I think it's better to talk with them. I think it's better to inspect their lands. I think it's better to diplomatically. Now, they all swore at Ahmadinejad for years, the former prime minister of Iran.
He's running for president again.
He was the most hated guy. The current guy is somewhat moderate. I know he's not a bomb tosser.
He's a puppet.
He's a puppet. But the Ayatollahs, the religious group, lead the country. But what you're doing, you're ignoring the fact that the rest of the world wanted to tie Iran down into this agreement. Because, we fought a war in Iraq. How many American kids got killed for that war? You got a guy right now, Bolton,
4,000,
vouching for an attack on Iran, probably. He also will never deny that he was wrong about Iraq. Never been.
Who?
Bolton, who's leading Trump by
Bolton.
the nose right now. You know he is. Here's the other thing. Back in the day when we attacked Iraq, okay, because they supposedly had yellow cake and all this other stuff, and they were building nuclear weapons, etc., we attacked somebody who had nothing to do with the World Trade Center airplane attack, okay? We had 17 people on those planes who were citizens of Saudi Arabia. The, what's his name? The former leader of that group, he was from Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
So what did we do? We attacked Iraq.
Mohammed
Atta. We attacked Iraq because they had something to do with the World Trade Center airplane bombings, okay?
No, that wasn't the stated reason.
Well, it was really, we drummed up about, because they had
weapons
nuclear
of mass destruction.
They had weapons of mass destruction. Now, right now, Iran has no weapons of mass destruction that we know about. Well, I mean, you can say what you want, but why don't we leave Israel alone?
What is a weapon of mass destruction?
Let Israel fight their own battle. Why are we doing this? Let them fight their own battle. They got one of the biggest armies in the world. They got nuclear weapons. What are we doing there? We've screwed the whole place up. Now
We've screwed the whole place up.
Russia and Iran and China are in there pitching, okay? They're in Syria. They're probably going to be in Libya. They're all over the Middle East. And we're here, sitting here saying we're defending Israel. They ain't going to defend Israel when the time comes.
We can't. The deal allowed for limited inspections of what if Iran was complying with the deal. There are places that are no-go zones in Iran that they will not allow inspectors either from the UN or from the United States. That was played down big time. Plus, what Trump is doing, he may issue unilateral sanctions, but there's no obligation for the Europeans or any of the other signatories of that deal to go along with the sanctions. I mean, plus we've already delivered plane loads of cash that at first President Obama denied as payoffs for this deal, and also about up to $150 billion in frozen Iranian assets that were frozen from 1979.
Which was their money, if we
yes,
can all
but
agree.
Still, we froze it because of what they were doing. They took hostage. You remember during the Carter administration, they did all that.
How many died in that hostage taking? Do you remember?
Gino, you're interrupting.
Well, these are hated people. How many died?
Gino, this is the most dangerous power on earth, second perhaps to, or at least tied with North Korea. Now, President Trump was criticized for being a hothead with Kim Jong mentally ill, right? He was the little fat kid, as he called him.
Little rocket man,
or whatever. All these insults and people. Oh my God! Do you see what Trump is saying to this guy? Well, look what's happening. They just released hostages, I think, yesterday to new Secretary of State. and they are about to sit down. They have already sat down with the South Korean president. So good things are happening.
Oh,
Why?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
Trump was tough with them, unlike the previous 4 administrations, 2 of them Republican and 2 of them Democrat. They lied to those administrations over and over. We gave them money while they were secretly developing nuclear weapons. Then all of a sudden, kaboom, we have a nuclear weapon. And then, pajoing, we should have missiles to deliver it. So all this was done secretly. Is Iran doing anything secretly? You bet your bum they are. They're absolutely doing
Wait a minute
something
now, wait a minute.
secretly. I wouldn't be surprised if they already have a nuclear weapon. And now they got $150 billion, and plus they can sell oil all around. So they got a big income stream now with which to foment more terror, and that is what they're going to do.
Are they
Trump was
fomenting-
absolutely right to do this.
Are they fomenting? What do you kind of? Where are they performing these terrorist acts?
Yemen, Syria,
Yemen?
Lebanon, Gaza.
They're performing. all
Those are the
acts.
ones that are active that they can't deny.
Do you know
and
that
then a lot of
Israel a
others
few
which
weeks
they
ago-
can deny.
Did you see the people picketing the fence in Israel a few weeks ago?
What?
There were people picketing along the fence that Israel.
What fence?
Between
In the
Israel
West
and
Bank.
Gaza. Yeah, the West Bank. Okay.
No, I didn't see that.
You didn't see what
I've
happened to
still-
them?
When I was over there, I saw it.
Did you
yeah.
see what happened to them for picketing? Hundreds were machine gunned down.
Oh, Gino, come on.
Yes.
Oh, you're
Yes.
talking about Gaza now.
I'm talking about Gaza.
Oh,
They machine gunned all these people. They were burning tires.
oh, that's Gino.
Okay, what did they do? Did they
did
go
not
kill?
machine gun hundreds
They
of people.
machine gunned hundreds
I don't
of people.
know where you got that.
Reading newspapers, and I'm telling you, it happened. You got to check up on these things.
I read about this
And a bunch
regularly.
of- a bunch
Every
of-
day I get something from Haaretz and Arutz. There
Yeah,
are 2
Arutz.
media outlets
They're rotten
in
roots
my
over
email
there.
box every single day.
Yeah.
And if there
They
was
didn't kill
anything,
anybody.
Gino, if they machine gun hundreds of people in
They
Gaza
did.
or in the West Bank, I wouldn't have known about it.
Okay, well, you
I'm,
better
I'm
say-
telling you
I
flatly,
hope our producer,
that did not happen.
I hope our producer is looking it up right now.
Okay.
Anyway, can we get off this subject? Because really, it's going nowhere. We're never going to agree. We will never agree about
Well,
what
we
we're
got to
being
talk.
sucked
You, know,
into.
you can't make statements like that just have no basis in fact.
What fact? What are we talking about?
That Israel last week machine gunned hundreds of Palestinians.
Not last week. It was about a month or so ago. When
Even
they went
if-
in because the people.
they haven't done that, Gino, since the last war.
Oh, they haven't?
In '73,
You'll see.
and they weren't innocent. They were invading at that time.
They kill men,
Israel-
women, and children indiscriminately,
That's
just like Hamas.
BS.
They're
That
no
is
better than Hamas. Come on.
BS.
I see. When they kill people when they die, it's because they've
It's
got a good
BS.
reason. You see the thing with this, really, I think Hamas is wrong. I think they're all wrong, okay? I think all the right-wingers in Israel are wrong. I think they don't want to let these people up any more than Iran wants to let them up.
BS.
But the point is, we're taking a huge side all the time. No matter how many people you kill in your excursions into Syria or Lebanon or Iran or the West
Talking
Bank,
about Israel now.
Israel, we never, ever, ever criticize them.
Oh man, I don't know where you get. Sheesh.
Well,
That's
lately,
all they do is
we
criticize.
criticize
That's
them?
all Western
Wow.
media does is criticize Israel. It's about like the U.S. mainstream media on Trump, 90% negative, and the same thing
Oh, my
with
God.
European
All right.
media and our media
I
on
can
Israel.
see-
It's
I
about
can-
90% negative. And when and the Palestinian stuff, what they do, the terrorism that they
I
do,
see. They're the only ones.
They train
I see.
kindergarten kids
I
to be
see.
shaheeds,
Yeah, I
to be
see.
suicide bombers with our tax money.
I see.
Gino.
Okay. But that's
I don't think you're very well informed on this.
I am very well informed
I
on
don't
it. I
think
think
so.
you're. Listen, I can tell that your trip to Europe has not improved your concept of world peace. I really think you see that. Anyhow, what about
You're going
about
to change
this?
the subject? Go ahead.
No, we got to go on to something else because this is getting.
I'll go on to
I don't
something
agree.
else.
You don't agree. We just don't agree.
All right, Jordan Peterson. I brought him up here before.
Is that the guy
He's-
that hates gays or something? Or is a pedophile? Is it?
You see,
I'm just asking.
You read it, media. There it is. Okay. There's absolutely no evidence for that statement, and yet
I'm
that
asking.
is what the left-wing mainstream media has said about Jordan Peterson, with no basis in fact.
Okay. All right. Well,
None. Zero.
I just heard
Nada.
some stories. That's all.
Oh, man. He
Go
was
ahead.
just on Bill Maher, right? You watch Bill Maher?
Once in a while. I don't like the
HBO
way he
guy.
swears all the
I
time.
know
in
he
his
does.
show.
He
I
drops
don't
the
like it.
F-bomb all the time,
All
but
the
it
time.
reminds me of, as if He thinks he's cool. I don't know.
He's not very cool.
Unnecessary.
He's balding and he's
So he
getting
had
old.
on as guests. He had the governor of Washington. It was a Democrat. I don't remember his name.
Good man.
He had this guy that's the attorney for Stormy Daniels, some Italian
Yes,
name.
yeah.
What's his name? Avenati.
Avenati, yes,
right?
yeah.
He was on.
Brilliant man.
And
I
then
made
some
this
other
up.
actors who I did not recognize. And so they're on there, and they're all to the left, of course.
Okay.
And Jordan Peterson
Is
is
yeah.
conservative, right? And Bill Maher
Oh, he's
goes out
not to
on
the
the
right. He's conservative. He's not.
What?
He's not to the right. He's conservative. You got
Jordan
liberal?
Peterson?
Yeah.
I don't know I just finished reading his book, which is a bestseller, by the way, across the whole English-speaking world,
Yeah,
not just
yeah.
in the United States. But the New York Times won't even put it on its list. Okay?
Doesn't he write for Man Boy Love or something? I don't know who this guy is. Go ahead.
I don't think
sorry.
you know much about
I
Jordan
don't know
Peterson
about
either.
Gordon.
It's pretty clear.
You brought him
So
up.
I just finished his book, and he didn't even talk about politics. Very little talked about politics, and you can't pin him down. I mean, he's not. You can't say what he is religiously. I don't know.
Is he Canadian? Is he
He's a Canadian.
Okay.
He grew up up near the Arctic Circle somewhere. I think in northern Saskatchewan, and then he became a clinical psychologist, and he taught at Harvard for a few years. Then he taught. Now he's
So
been
what? Give me the story. What is it? What's the story?
What's the story? He was trying to. So these people were trashing Donald Trump, and so he asked them a simple question. All the people who on the panel, Bill Maher likes Jordan Peterson. So Maher is getting criticized because he approves of Jordan Peterson. He likes him, invited him on the show.
Sure.
So here you have one conservative, and all these other panelists, including Avenati. So Avenati starts going off on Trump, and the rest of them all chimed in.
Yeah.
And so then Maher turns to Peterson. He says, "Well, what do you think of this?" And so Peterson, "Well, I have a question for the panel." He said, you all want to get rid of Donald Trump. You can't wait to get it. You hope that he doesn't finish his first term, and you want him gone. What do you say to the 40% of Americans, at least, and maybe more, who approve of him and who believe that he's being railroaded and by the rest of you? What about those people?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? They all offered an answer, but none of them offered an answer to that question. You're appalled by Donald Trump, but what about all the people who do approve of what he is doing?
Yeah.
And so none of them ever answered the question. So that's interesting. The other thing would be, this is something I didn't bring out when Mark Garang was here too much. I did mention it. This Avenatti guy.
Yeah.
He goes. This guy is
He's a
tight.
very good lawyer.
It's pretty tight with Mueller. It's obvious that he and Mueller and the rest of the mainstream media. First of all, Avenatti. I did some background checking on him. When he was in college and in graduate school, he worked for Rahm Emanuel. All right. So then, and Kimball Wood, by the way,
Now the mirror
had been
Chicago.
appointed. Hillary Clinton got Bill to appoint her as Attorney General. She didn't make it. She couldn't because she had some
Right, I
illegal
remember that. She had
aliens and
a-
so forth.
yeah.
Also, she's also. I didn't bring this out
She had a-
a couple of weeks ago. She's also a former Playboy bunny.
Who,
Kimball Wood.
Nice.
Yeah, I had no idea. And then she also performed a wedding ceremony for George Soros in one of his marriages. He's
Really?
clearly tight with George
Good.
Soros.
So what does this all mean?
Well,
Guilt
it
by
would-
association?
Avenatti just came out with something this morning. Now, I was listening to NHPR on the way over here. So who do they bring up? Avenatti. And Avenatti now is claiming that, what's his name? Carter. Carter Page.
Carter Page?
Not Carter
Or
Page.
Cohen?
Michael
Cohen,
Cohen,
yeah.
the attorney, excuse me,
Yeah.
was accepted hundreds of thousands of dollars from various
From a
American
Russian-
corporations. One was an investment firm who had some ties with a Russian oligarch, and he's saying, and this is big headlines in mainstream media, right? What the heck? What is Avenatti doing about this? He's after Cohen.
He's trying to get a case.
Kimball Wood
resolved
is the
against-
one that handled this case, right? So you got Rahm Emanuel, you got Kimball Wood, you got George Soros,
Yeah.
you got what is this? A porn star now all of a sudden is
can we?
dominating the news. Why?
Yeah.
Because they all think that they're going to get rid of Donald Trump by focusing
know.
on this porn star thing or a payoff that Michael Cohen
I-
gave, and and then you get Giuliani involved and all this.
Avenati is a good lawyer, comes highly recommended by a lot of people. But the point is, he's had a lot of good cases. He's an ambulance chaser. Now he's got a client who was offered or given $130,000 by Cohen for Trump, I guess, and signed an agreement that later on she wanted to get out of, for whatever reason. She said she didn't want her life back. But the point is...
What do you think might have been some of those reasons?
The payoff came about, I forget how many days before the election. It was after the big blurb about him going and grabbing women.
Yeah, it was a few
when
weeks before the election.
Which he actually denied ever saying, even though he was on tape.
Wait a minute.
He denied that wasn't, he said, I never said that. Well, they had him on tape. He still denied Trump.
This thing that NBC brought out.
Yeah, the thing about grabbing women.
Yeah, I remember that.
So then, this case hits the, Avenati figured this is a good location to get my claimant. Well,
location.
Her. She said $130,000. They gave her to shut up. It was about a week before the election, because obviously, when you had that tape of him grabbing women indiscriminately, and then her coming to the fore with, I was dating a porno star with, all these born-again Christians love Trump, and he's dating a porno star. They give her the $130,000.
That evidently was a one-night stand.
Whatever.
Then there was another woman, a Playboy bunny, that
and there's
got paid off also.
There's probably dozens of others. But the thing is, he's an attorney. Personally, he did come up with this information on deposits to Cohen's accounts. I don't know how the hell he got them or where he got them.
Yeah,
but there was a $500,000 donation, a contribution of money that was paid in there from a guy who's what do they call those people in Russia? Oligarch? There was a
Wasn't from him.
And he's a good friend of Putin.
Not according to NHPR this morning. I listened to it.
Well,
they said, they asked, now, that's certainly a left-wing outlet.
I don't care. Listen, I don't care what it is. I think...
And they said, NHPR said, ask the question, how does Avenati come up with this stuff?
I don't know.
Where did it come from? And what evidence did he offer that there was Russian involvement in this payoff? None.
Well,
NHPR said. He offered zero evidence. But guess what? Why are they having a whole segment on it? And why is other media giving it so much play when there is zero evidence according to NHPR? Why? Why do you suppose? Can I ask you that question? Why do you suppose they are?
I don't know.
Because it might make Trump look bad, so they're going to do everything they can.
Let me give you a few things in the last couple weeks that might make Trump look a little bad.
Trump does enough to make himself look bad.
Trump is on an airplane a month or two ago. They ask him a question about Cohen and the payoff.
Yeah.
Basically never met the woman. That's his kind of statement, okay?
Yeah.
His clown from New York, the former mayor of New York, who should be probably in a care facility now, goes on national television 5 or 6 times in 3 days and basically drops a dime on Trump. Of course he was doing it. He didn't say it like that. Of course, he's a pig.
He pretty much said.
He basically said
he did reimburse Cohen.
Trump, now it comes out. You see Trump's doctor that gave that infamous letter for Trump.
Yeah, the long-haired guy.
Yeah, he looked like Peter Sellers in that movie, The Revenge of the Pink.
He did, didn't he?
Right, he looked just like him.
Yeah.
He comes out and says, these guys broke into my office and took Donald Trump's files out. Now, of course,
what guys?
People that work for Trump. They just took all his files and took off with them. What he said now, as he's being interviewed, this Dr. Feelbad, whatever he is, says, Val, he says,
he has an accent?
I was taking care of his hair. So it's his hair loss, and I told somebody, and they come in. Now, he also says, and Mr. Trump wrote the letter saying how healthy he was. Dictated by Donald Trump.
I read that, yeah.
This is the guy you're defending.
Defending who? Donald Trump?
Yeah. You got to admit. Wait a minute.
Am I defending him?
Well, you are.
Am I questioning
you're doubting
the evidence that's being put out for him? I won't deny Giuliani said that.
Okay.
He contradicted what Trump said on the
2
plane.
weeks ago.
Granted, that did happen.
Mueller come out with 49. I think I think Giuliani even released this information to the press.
What, Ray?
That what's his name, Mueller, had 49 areas of concern that he wanted Trump to answer.
We don't know who
Well,
leaked
it appears they didn't deny it on the right, so I assume they probably did drop that in the paper to show. Now, these are pretty serious questions all the way down. There's a third about Russia collusion. There's a third about this.
So you think they're authentic?
No, wait a minute. No, I don't know how many.
Those are the questions.
What
that
I'm saying is,
you believe that? That's
so
important because
Trump, of course, or Giuliani, who has only been on the job one day, but that was 3 weeks after he started.
yeah,
He says, well, we'll sit down with Mueller and we'll give him 2 or 3 hours. They
Yeah.
did a test case with Trump a few days ago. I read this on some journal.
who did a test case?
Somebody on the Trump side. They had a group that questioned him on some of these questions.
You mean they did a little
Yeah.
mock thing?
Yeah, mock.
Okay.
It took
yeah.
him 4 hours to get through the first 2 questions, and he was just doing so much proselytizing they couldn't even keep up with him. Anyway,
Yeah, that sounds
this is
like
the
it.
guy you're supporting. McCain's dying, okay? The man we all grew to love over the years, right? McCain says, I don't want Trump at my funeral.
All right, you done?
I mean, it's just,
Okay, so
how can you believe this guy? And then, one quick one. He says that Iran, what the heck was it? About Iran, that they everything he said yesterday in this conversation was a lie. When you look at
Wait a
what he
minute.
said,
Everything who said in what
Trump, when
conversation?
he backed out of the Iran deal, all the things he said
What
were
things?
lies.
Give me some things.
Oh, I don't even remember them now. They were just thrown
You
out
can't
there.
just throw out statements like that. Everything he said
That
was
people
lying. You
that-
can't point to
people
any
that
one of
analyze-
them.
People like that there was no inspection, that they weren't allowing inspections, all this kind of stuff. Everything he said wasn't true. The man does not know how to tell the truth, and you know it. And you're defending him.
Gino,
Yeah.
he's told some lies. He's
Some?
told some whoppers. So has, I'm not going to say they all do it. Okay, that's a cop out. I would say that the things that he has lied about are insignificant. Are not
Sex with
policy.
prostitutes?
What's illegal?
Sex with porno stars?
I don't approve of that. Okay, it's not something that I think a president is sordid. Okay,
It's
it
sordid.
brings back stuff like what Bill Clinton did, but they were at least consensual. Back during the campaign, there were women who came out and said that he groped them, and it was
17 of
not
them.
consensual, and that those charges were some were concerning. Okay,
He said they were so homely you wouldn't have bothered them.
but he
the guy's
denied
a
all
real-
of those. Now, and then it's pretty clear, though, that this is what people thought would bring his opposition, the never-Trumpers in the Republican establishment, plus, the entire Democrat Party and the mainstream media, which is a puppet of the
forget the
Democrat Party, are going to give as much attention as possible to this kind of stuff, thinking that it's inevitably going to fracture the coalition that elected Donald Trump, which included, as you alluded to a minute ago, evangelical Christians, right? Guess
still
what?
support him
It's
mightily.
not happening. His approval ratings, in spite of about 2 years
Well,
of nothing
40%.
but negative, 90% negative press,
Mm-hmm.
sensationalist claims from everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
his approval rating is going up. This
I
has
know.
got the Democrats crazy. They have pulled out all the stops. They have shot all their ammunition at this guy, fully expecting that he's never gonna finish his first term, and his approval rating is going
He's
up.
only been president
Up.
15
Okay.
months, Do you realize that?
I know, but they
15
started
months.
before the election
This
on
guy
him.
is so far
Gino,
out
how
of
do you
his league.
explain that?
I can explain it very easily.
Go ahead.
You got a bunch. Actually, when Hillary Clinton didn't say much that was smart during her campaign, when she said that she had the deplorables, that there were 35% of the people that were with him were deplorable. And you know something? People,
I voted for him, and I will
Of course,
again.
you would have voted for Marquis de Sade if it was against Hillary Clinton. Come on, be honest about that. I know you would. It
I
wouldn't have
voted
mattered.
against Hillary primarily. That's
Yeah,
true.
exactly. So I mean,
guess
this is
what?
it. This is it, folks. This is where I'm going. here.
Now, on the basis of what Trump has done, including what he did yesterday, pulling out of the
Jesus.
Iran deal, almost every policy move that man has made, I think, is wonderful.
Well, they're all
I
promises he
agree
made.
with his platform. I agree with his policies. I'm very happy about that.
Okay.
So he diddles a few Playboy bunnies and porn stars. I don't think that reflects well on him. It doesn't. It's not good for the president to be doing stuff like this. I don't like that, but I like what he's doing.
You do.
Yes.
See, and that same thing happened in 1933 in Munich, Germany, if you remember.
What happened?
That people supported Adolf Hitler because
Yes, they did.
he promised them everything they could ever possibly want. A car in every yard, good jobs, great this, great that, fabulous military,
Yeah.
and he was going to get back at the people
And he
about
delivered on
Alsace,
all that
Lorraine.
stuff, didn't he?
He did it all. He
Yeah.
did it all. What did he wind up doing?
Well, we
Putting
know.
a bullet in his ear. Anyway, let's get to question 2.
So what's your point?
The point is that Donald
Here-
Trump is a
Hitler-
Pied Piper.
Hitler and Trump are the same, right?
Yes.
That's it. That's what we hear from you guys.
I believe. I
Gino,
firmly.
as soon as you raise the Nazis and the Trumps, you start losing the Nazis and Hitler. And
Listen.
you lose the argument.
You're
okay?
a historian. Study the history.
I'm aware of
It's
what
no
you said.
joke. The man is a fascist. You can't believe he's not a fascist?
I don't believe he's a fascist. No, I
What do you
don't.
think he is? He's is he a capitalist?
I think he's someone who is putting the poking the eyes of Democrats and the media, and he does it. I guess when he does that, when I see Democrats go nuts over what he does, I'm thinking, yes, wonderful.
You know,
he is annoying all the right people, and I think that the more the media does this, and the more Democrats do this, that they're sinking themselves. They're talking about a blue wave in November. I'm thinking that they're going to be very surprised. I hope there's not a blue wave. I don't want to see Democrats take over the
I have a real
Congress because
concern
I don't
for,
agree with them on anything. But I really love that Trump is annoying so
Okay.
many people. He's
Let's-
driving
let's-
them nuts, and that's what people like about Donald Trump.
Okay, you know, the people that like Donald Trump, you like what he's doing, but you don't like him.
No, I don't.
You have no respect for him, but you like what he's doing.
Well, I
because
respect what he's doing.
You don't realize
As a
what
man, I wouldn't want him for a friend.
he's got this
No.
guy heading the EPA. Now, he was a former Attorney General
Pruitt.
of Oklahoma, was it?
Somewhere in the
One of those
Midwest,
states.
yeah.
Now, he puts this guy in place. He's going to drain a swamp. We're going to drain the swamp. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The guy has got a security crew of 30 people. He's flown all the way around the world on somebody else's dime a lot of times. Private planes, because he was being threatened on planes. Yeah, right.
You don't think so?
Who the hell knows him? I wouldn't know him if that. He's a little guy, about 5 feet tall. I might not know him. But
Is he a
here's-
little guy?
Yeah, but here's the point. Everybody that Trump has basically a little smaller people than him. Keep an eye on that stuff. Anyway, here he is, and he gets an apartment in Washington from a lobbyist. I mean, I can only imagine if this was the head of the EPA when Obama was in there. You know, if the guy got a hot dog for free at a local Joe and Emo's, you would have been all over him like a cheap suit. But no, now you got this fruitcake that's out there.
He's a fruitcake?
Spending, what, $50 a night for a hotel in Washington, D.C.?
But he is dismantling an agency
Wait a minute.
that has been...
Dismantle? No, he's not. No, he's not. They're taking out the pieces they don't like. Like,
That's
oh,
right.
you want us to be able to cut off the top of mountains? Yeah, go right ahead. We'll watch. Meanwhile, they're paying him for saying these things. The guy has got, anyway, he's just one of many, many of these people that Donald Trump has brought into Washington.
Okay, I listen.
Let's go to question 2.
How about something a little more lighthearted?
Wait, before you go late,
Is it time already?
we just answered the question. Do you think Scott Pruitt should be
replaced
replaced?
No, I don't. I like Scott Pruitt. I think he's doing a marvelous job. And
But-
if he used taxpayer funds illegally, then I think he should be prosecuted for that. But in the meantime, I like what he's doing.
Well, I can say one more thing
No,
about
you
it.
didn't.
One,
You
two-
talked-
no, I
you
got
talked long enough.
because I forgot 2 of the important things.
Oh, man. Go
he
ahead.
wanted a telephone booth in his office that no one else in the world could hear him on the phone.
I think that's a good idea.
He wanted a bulletproof desk.
Desk.
A bulletproof desk. $50,000.
He must think that some Earth First type environmental terrorists are out to
he
get him.
wants
I
them to
wouldn't be
run the
surprised if they
sirens
were.
with his 30-member security force. When he goes out to dinner in Washington, he wants them to run his sirens. When the guy complained, he fired him. And this is the Scott Pruitt?
Are you done now?
Yeah,
All right.
drain the swamp.
American
Go ahead,
media.
next.
Here, I think this is a little bit more lighthearted. Well, in a way, yes. In a way, no. I mean, yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? Eric Schneiderman, Attorney General in New York, resigned.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did he resign? Because he was. There were 3 women who
Beating
came
up
out
women
and
or
claimed
something.
that he choked them and smacked
During
and hit
sex.
them
During sex. Yeah.
Yep. And the New Yorker came out with it. Now that's a left-wing magazine.
Fine.
And
Equal
they came out with
opportunity.
it. They've been breaking a lot of stuff with having to do with
Absolutely.
this. What is it? The Me Too movement. The
have
women
no
that are
idea.
coming out
Yeah, he
against
was a Me
Harvey
Too'er, I think.
Weinstein
Yeah,
and the
Me
rest
Too.
of them. And Schneiderman was prosecuting Harvey Weinstein, and then it comes out that he's done worse than Weinstein.
Oh,
We
I
don't know that he did it.
That was
He denies it, but it looks like he resigned.
He quit the same night.
All right,
He
let me
resigned
calm down.
4
Calm down.
hours.
Let me make
Okay,
my
go
points,
ahead. What's
please.
the funny part?
The funny part is, now Schneiderman isn't part of it, except that he's a left-wing Jewish American Democrat in New York City, New York State, New York. There's been a string of them. I mean, starting with Spitzer, right?
Elliot Spitzer,
Elliot
very good
Spitzer.
man.
He went down for very
Prostitute
similar
Washington,
reasons,
yeah.
right? Then you had this unfortunate guy, Anthony Weiner, with the unfortunate name, right? And so here you got this McDougal. There's another woman. There was a Playboy bunny that Cohen paid off. Her name was McDougal, and she got $150,000 from National Enquirer, whose publisher
They were
was
going to write a story, and then they didn't write a story. So she sued
and
him.
he
on
was a
that.
Trump supporter. Okay,
Yes, whatever.
Guess what the guy's name is?
Schneiderman?
David Pecker.
Is he the head of the organization?
Yes.
He
Okay.
is?
He's head of American Media.
So that's
which
Pecker,
owns
head of the
So you
organization.
got David Pecker and Anthony Weiner, right? Involved with this. That's all. I just wanted to bring
Here's the
that
thing.
up.
You want some humor?
Yeah.
Donald
Okay,
Trump
well.
was accused by at least 14 or 15 women of improperly.
I remember.
Yeah, okay. He didn't resign. He became president.
Yeah.
Now, what the hell do you say about that?
What do you say about it?
Here's a guy who had.
Why don't you tell me what you
this
say
guy
about
had.
that?
This guy had.
What do you say?
He was dating these women over the years. Okay,
I already gave you my answer.
I understand. But Silverglade, what is his name? Silverstein.
Harvey Silverglate,
Silverglade.
good man. Actually, for an ACLU guy, well, I don't
Here's
agree
the-
with him on
here's
very
the-
much, but I respect that guy. Now, that guy is
No, wait a minute. I'm
consistent.
talking about the Attorney General. What was his name? Silverweiner?
Schneiderman.
Snyderman. I can get these names.
Silverglade was an ACLU attorney
Okay.
from
so
Boston.
Snyder, he has dates with these women over the years. He's into strange sex.
Evidently.
Let's not kid ourselves. Maybe, just maybe,
Yeah.
the women, who some of whom worked for him over the years while
Yeah.
they were dating him,
Yeah.
maybe they like strange sex too. Now, what
I'd
we have
rather
with,
not know.
I understand. But what we have with Mr. Trump is that he said, hey, I'm important. I can go up and grab any women I want, buy them.
Yep.
Okay?
He said that, yeah.
He did
over
say
and
it.
over. Why do you keep bringing
He
it
got
up?
elected by 70 or 80 electoral votes.
Yep, he did.
What's this business
Why
with-
is that, Gino?
Do you actually
Even by evangelical Christians, how did that happen?
people are sick of Washington?
That's exactly right.
But here's
And who is, when they say they're sick of Washington, what parts of Washington are they sick of? Establishment Republicans and Democrats.
Democrats, yeah.
They're sick of all of
Why
them.
don't we just throw out the whole United States of America, start over from scratch?
No. The entire Congress. I think it would be great. Who was it that said, oh gosh, who was it that said, I'd rather be governed by the first 535 names in the Boston telephone book than by the Senate and the House that we have right now. We'd have better government if we did that. And I think it was William Buckley said that. And he's right. He's right. If we put in some ordinary people, there's a guy running for Maine governor right now. I've interviewed, how many have I interviewed? Three candidates for Maine governor, including the two leading Republicans right now in the primaries next month. There's one guy, his name is Sean Moody. He came, he was the most inauspicious looking candidate for governor I ever
Is
saw.
he a Republican? Democrat?
He's a Republican. He was an independent. He ran
Yeah.
in the last election cycle as an independent.
Yeah.
He runs a series of body shops in Maine, Moody's Collision Centers, I
Yeah.
think they're called. He started working when he was 14 in this body shop nearby. He kept working in it. He ended up buying it. He opened up several more of them. The guy came in. He's dressed in work clothes. He's got on a pair of work boots that have been worked in. The guy
Yeah,
works,
and
right?
he actually works.
He's a very ordinary. He talks like ordinary English
Yeah.
the way most of the people that you're going to meet down at the lunch counter talk. And you know what? He could be our next governor.
You get rid of
He-
that clown you got. God, he's
This
a nut.
guy, I really like this guy.
Yeah. Is he
And-
conservative?
Oh yeah, he's
Oh, yeah.
conservative, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Wanna
why I
get
like
rid
him.
of, wants to
I
move
like
all
him.
those black folk out of Maine, right? Get
I
them
like
down
his
south.
policies, but I like him as a man. And what is it? Why do I think this guy's got a shot? I think he's the number one fundraiser among Democrat candidates. He could very well win the primary next week.
And then who are they trying to get rid of? What's his face? Your governor.
LePage?
LePage.
No,
He can't run again?
Yeah, he's term limited.
Yeah. Oh, he's term limit?
Yeah.
He can't run again?
No,
Oh, good.
but LePage's daughter was with Moody when I interviewed him.
Oh, God.
So clearly, he likes LePage, and
oh,
LePage likes
dear
him, and
God.
his daughter is working
Reminds
for him.
me of the Joe Arpaio.
I like LePage.
Pence goes to give a speech in Indiana. Or was he in Arizona? Touting Joe Arpaio, a
I like
great
Joe
American.
Arpaio.
Yeah,
Great
he's
guy.
a racist. He's proved himself a racist over the years.
Okay, on what basis do you? This is a
He was
word you
arresting-
throw around very easily.
He was arresting
Tell me-
people after he was told. The reason he was convicted of a crime
Yeah,
was because he did not.
he wasn't convicted of
The
a crime.
court.
Or-
Well, he never did.
he
Yeah,
was-
I don't even.
he was
He
charged.
was accused, but he got pardoned before he went to trial. I
Go
think.
ahead.
But he was. The reason he got arrested was because he was
President
enjoined.
Obama was after him. And
enjoined not to do what he was doing. What he was
he
doing.
defied federal orders. That's what he
Exactly.
did. Yes.
What are we all going to do that now? Is that the song
Well, it
we
seems
all
the whole
sing?
state of California is doing it. So what about one sheriff in
They're at
Arizona?
least fighting
the
in the-
whole state of California is
They're at least-
defying
they're fighting
federal
in the-
laws
and they're fighting
on
in the-
immigration. Are they not, Gino?
They
Yes,
are.
they are.
Not,
and so
not
now
permanent.
you ignore that, and you point to Joe Arpaio, who said, "I'm doing my job, and the federal government doesn't have authority
Wait a minute,
to
wait a
tell me
minute.
who I can arrest
You-
as
you're
a
mixing-
county sheriff."
You're mixing rutabaga and tomatoes, okay?
No, I'm not.
Joe Arpaio was on trial, probably going to be convicted because it was pretty damn obvious he did.
So you
They
say.
can bring their charges against California, fight it out in the courts.
You know, there's a guy who beat him. You know who his biggest contributor who beat him?
I don't know.
Gave him the most. Gave
I
him all
can't
his
even
money.
imagine.
George Soros.
There's a lot of
That
money
name
out
keeps
there.
on coming up. Why is George Soros
Wait a
so
minute.
interested in a sheriff's race, a county sheriff's race in Arizona? George Soros is behind an awful lot of
I
stuff.
would like to see
This
us-
multi-billionaire. And who is he the biggest fundraiser for? Barack Obama,
Now, wait a minute, wait a
Hillary Clinton.
Now, Barack Obama, according to you, was an awful, awful human being, wasn't he?
No, as a
What
human
was
being,
he
I'm
ever
not going to
accused
judge
of?
you. I don't-
No, well, you know Trump's an awful human being. He couldn't be a good human being, do what he's doing. So, I mean, let's face it, Trump was a decent person. I mean, Obama was a decent president. He had
As a
18
person, I don't
Wait a minute.
have anything against
Let me
the
talk
man, no.
about little Obama here. Obama
I'm
came
not going to
in.
be able to do anything but listen to you talk.
Okay,
Go
Obama
ahead.
came in. The stock market was a 7,500.
All right, you're going to say that again?
8 years later, he
Gino, I've
left.
been hearing this for 10 years.
And wait a minute, 8 years later, he left. It was 19,000,
Okay, all
give or
right.
take a few pennies.
Yeah.
He came in. The unemployment rate was 10%.
All right.
He left. It was 4.3. Did you ever hear Obama say, "I am the best president that ever lived"? Have you ever heard Obama compare himself
I would like to know.
to Truman?
Obama has told some whoppers about, like, here's an example.
The 57 variety, I remember that.
That's minor stuff,
No,
Gene.
that's
That's
minor.
minor stuff.
You got bigger stuff.
President Obama was involved in this effort to bring down his successor, President Trump. That I have evidence for that.
Oh,
I don't
jeez.
have the evidence. Does not constitute proof. One of them would be James Clapper. This guy he appointed as
CIA,
his
yeah.
national security
National security.
advisor. Okay,
Right.
Clapper has lied under oath at least 3 times
Yes.
that I know of to Congress. Okay, so what he was involved in this meeting just before that Susan Rice had written this memo, this
Oh,
email
my
to
God.
herself about this. What do you do? What's this? Oh
Back
my
to
God
Susan
stuff.
Rice, they're gone already, you know.
Gino, they're still involved
I see.
in bringing down President Trump. This is a
my
conspiracy to bring down
Oh,
Trump.
come on,
It
Tom. Be
absolutely
sensible.
is.
Let me.
It absolutely
Okay,
is.
you make a statement like that. Let me think.
Yes.
The other day, I should say Trump, said that all of these guys that are after him in this Mueller probe, all those Democrats, there ain't one of them that's a Democrat. He's a damn liar, and you
Gino,
got to stop lying because
most of the staff that he hired were Hillary and Obama and Democrat
Oh, geez.
contributors.
just call me a Republican or a Democrat. They
He's
were all
he's
Republicans.
he's a Republican the way Susan Collins is a Republican.
Oh my God.
That's the kind of Republican he is.
She votes for almost every Republican issue except one in the last
Gino?
few years.
This is it. So first of all, what was the first lie that he told?
Who,
He was
Trump?
asked,
I can't-
Clapper, his national security
Oh, my
advisor.
God.
He's still a contributor. He works for CNN now. How did he get that job? He's a consultant for CNN, right? He
So?
goes on TV. Well, it looks like the dossier. The dossier was had 6 months before it came out in January 2017. Every mainstream media outlet had a copy of it. They all knew about the dossier, all right? But none of them would publish it. You know why they couldn't publish it? Because they could not verify it. And journalistic standards prevented them from publishing it. But it said bad things about Donald Trump, and it was paid for by Hillary Clinton and the Democrats.
Oh,
and
it started out with the Republicans. Come on.
Gino,
the first
I'm
group to
making
win-
my points, and you keep interrupting
But
me.
you-
Did I interrupt you?
No, you're right.
All right. They wanted to be able to publish it.
Mm-hmm.
Clapper gave them a way to publish it.
Yeah.
Clapper said, okay, I'm going to brief President Obama about it, and I'm going to brief the president-elect Donald Trump about this. That was the hook that they needed. They can't publish the stuff in it because it's unverified. It was then, and it still is, a year and a half
A
later.
lot of it is verified.
You're
I'm sorry. A
interrupting
lot
again.
of us.
You're interrupting
I know,
again.
I know. Yeah.
And so Clapper said, I am interviewing, and he told this guy at CNN, Jake Tapper, this is what I'm doing. I'm telling him about the dossier. He didn't have to give him a copy of the dossier because they already had it. So then CNN is going to publish, they publish a story saying, the hook is that Clapper is briefing President Obama and incoming President Trump on this dossier.
Right.
Then they could put the dossier out.
Not
Which
necessarily.
is what they did.
Not
And
necessarily.
then Clapper all of a sudden gets a job with CNN. Thank you, Jake Tapper. Thank you, CNN. So then he lied. He was asked just about that. He was asked, did you leak any information to the media? No, I didn't. Then he admitted that I did in the story I just told you. He did it to Jake Tapper. That was just one of the more recent lies. That was within the last month. Okay, the first lie he told, which is probably the biggest, is that he was asked about this when National Security Agency under the Obama administration was compiling evidence and tapping everybody's email, everybody's phone call, about 400 million different phone calls that they had categorized. He said, are you surveilling Americans? No. And then he stops for a minute. No, not knowingly, no. Flat out lie.
I don't know.
Because he knew that we were. He was overseeing the whole program that was doing it. Okay? And then they used this dossier to get this FISA warrant. And with the FISA warrant, guess what they got? They got transcripts of General Kelly, Carter Page.
Are you talking about
Michael
the
Cohen?
FISA they put out on
Yes,
on
with
Page?
that,
That wasn't just the one thing, Tom.
Gino, you bet your life it wasn't just for one thing. What they were able to do with that FISA warrant, which they got under false circumstances using this dodgy dossier, right? They were able to not only tap Carter Page, but anyone that Carter Page was in touch with, his whole network. That was thousands of people. And with that, they got all these transcripts that Mueller is now using in order to question people. And that's probably how he got Kelly to plead guilty to lying.
I've heard a lot of different stuff about
That's just the beginning, scratching the surface of this conspiracy that is going on with the deep state, and Obama sits back, and guess what? It's starting to unravel. And if Trump doesn't get impeached, and if Democrats don't take over the Congress,
we got a few minutes.
then we're going to see it unravel further.
Trump is not going to get impeached because we've got a representative form of government that you need a majority in the House and 2/3 of the Senate. It's not going to happen. What Trump is doing in his own way, I think this dossier originally came up because there was some funding from a Republican group that wanted this guy to do some work. During his
That was Fusion GPS.
Okay, Fusion GPS, but they were working with him, I guess. I don't know.
They worked for Obama, and then they worked for the Republicans that were against Trump.
And then they went back, right. So they developed this through this guy who came up with this dossier.
The British spy.
The British spy, who was well represented. He brought it to the American FBI. The American FBI did nothing with it. At least he thought they were doing nothing with it.
Because it was unverified.
But they were investigating it without telling him. They did come up with some of this stuff through other agencies around the world. They're all out there with their, when they got Carter Page.
You know how they came up with this
wait a
stuff?
minute, let me finish. It wasn't just because Carter Page had been brought into the FISA.
Had been wiretapped.
Carter Page had been wiretapped because he was dealing directly with Russians who weren't working in our best interest. That's where they got him. And then they started.
Not verified.
Well, it'll
No
be
evidence.
Listen, Tom, when they get to the point that you see that those 49 things that Mueller was talking about, you're going to find that this president may be treasonous. I really believe that. There's something about money in his group. Following the money is going to bring them down.
If we keep investigating it, we're going to find this out. I've been hearing this for a year and a half.
No, it's been a year. He's only been on duty a year, Mueller. Now, the guy that was checking on Clinton was on duty. There were two of them.
The FBI was investigating Trump from June 2016. So it's been almost 2 years that the FBI has been investigating Donald Trump and possible collusion with the Russians.
Why didn't they bring that out before the election?
Why didn't who bring it out?
When Comey came out and said that stuff about the guy in New York, what's his name?
Because they never thought he'd win.
Why?
That's why.
No,
That's
but
why they didn't
why
bring
didn't
it out.
they bring out what they had on Trump?
They don't have
at the
anything
time?
on Trump.
Oh, believe me, they have a ton on
They
Trump.
don't have anything on
You
Trump.
are such a true believer with this guy. I can't believe it.
And you,
I mean, seriously, if you had...
are such a typical Democrat
I can tell you
left-winger
one thing, Tom.
that you
If-
think that you're convinced on the basis of zero evidence
Amen.
that there's something there, okay? Even though the huge team, the whole FBI, and now this special prosecutor has been investigating it between them for almost 2 years.
No, that's
almost
because-
2 years. In June, next month, 2 months from now, no, next month, it'll be 2 years that this has been going on. They've been gathering
special
evidence,
prosecutor's
okay?
been involved 1 year.
1 year, okay? But but his best buddy Comey was involved too. And you asked me the question, why did they not come out with this stuff before? There's two reasons for that. One reason is there isn't anything.
Oh, okay.
And the second reason is they thought that Hillary would win.
So you mean the
they
fact
never
that-
thought they would need it. They thought Hillary would win. But when Trump won, that's when they come up with stuff.
Why do you think
Come
that
out with this stuff and try to bring him down.
Trump's
That's the
new
insurance policy.
Trump's new lawyer, Giuliani, really believes that Trump is going to meet, he will decide when he's indicted or when he's asked to come before a grand jury, that he's going to take the fifth. Now, if your president, not mine, your president decides to take the fifth, what does that tell you about him? After he's already
Gino,
said...
You're talking about stuff that isn't even happening yet. We got a minute
He's
left,
on
so we got to
tape.
wrap this up.
He's on tape.
By the next show. Well, you're not going to be here.
I may not be. No,
But
I don't think so.
if it's a month from now that you're here,
Yes.
then we'll know.
No, we won't. How are we going to know?
We'll know whether Trump is or is not going to sit down with anybody from the Mueller's organization.
He's not going to sit on.
We're out of
no,
time.
we're not out of time. We can still get about
I just
30
heard it
seconds.
from the guy.
We still get 30 seconds.
All right, so
For God's sake, this audience
we got
waited a
cranked
month
today,
for us
didn't
to
we,
get
Gino?
together.
We got cranked. How'd that
I hope they
happen?
like it. I wish they'd send their cards and
Yeah.
letters in.
Yeah.
Get us a pay raise that we need.
So you'll be back in June sometime,
I'll probably be back
right?
in June unless I
Yeah.
get lost somewhere.
All right. So I don't know who will.
Well, thanks
I'll
for
find
coming
somebody
in
to
today.
sit in your chair.
You better find someone to come in and have some fun with, for God's sake.